talk about our first match of the day. That's right. We're going to get started with that very soon. It's going to be Soniqs versus Parabellum. Now, these are two teams that took an L yesterday, right? They both lost. Soniqs, it was kind of a shock, right? Obviously, reigning NAL champions. You know, they've been very good in the past. Obviously, they've got the big brain of Super leading everything, but they got kind of stomped yesterday, to put it nicely, right? I mean, we'll get into all the individual technical things a little bit later, but on Parabellum's side, it was a closer match, but still probably not the result people were looking for. In broad strokes, like, what are you kind of expecting seeing out of this one, Jacob?
I like the map selection process for both teams.
Right.
For both Parabellum and Soniqs, it never feels like there's a dull moment. Soniqs were very capable of manipulating the ban phase to their favor for all three stages last year. They wouldn't play more than 2 maps, maybe even 3 maps a stage, which gave teams a reason to like hyper focus on them, and it was met with varying degrees of success last time. So from a map ban perspective, we'll see where we head to. Clubhouse probably going to be Parabellum's perma ban, simply based on how they played it and didn't play it very much or play it very well in Challenger League. No Cafe for the Soniqs, which again, also their permaban, something they have never allowed through a ban phase past the first map, which is just expected. No Oregon, no Villa. We'll get down to a couple more specifics. For the Soniqs themselves, no Villa off the table is honestly just, they've tried it a couple times over the past month. It's been met with like very little success overall. No Bank, no Skyscraper, so the possibility of still seeing a new map here is pretty strong unless we get it banned out. Nope, there's still one left.
Okay.
So we're down to just 2. It's either Theme Park or Chalet. It's in the Soniqs corner about which one we want to go to.
Let's see it.
If we go to Chalet...
Oh,
we are.
Oh, okay.
Oh, boy. We're starting this one off with a bang. Why is Chalet so important?
Oh, it's so important because, quite frankly, both of these teams are utterly biblical at Chalet.
Yeah.
Soniqs, 5-0 since Stage 3. Parabellum, also a perfect 5-0 since Stage 3. Now, huge difference since Jacob, right? Parabellum plays in Challenger League.
Right.
Soniqs have beaten, I'm sure that includes, you know, international teams.
It does, yeah. We're talking like when they went to Sweden,
Yep.
when they went to SI. I mean, this also does include the qualifier results for Parabellum too.
Yep.
So if they ever played it from their qual run, then that'll be included somewhere.
Right, and let me tell you about that Parabellum Chalet.
Yeah.
In particular, because a lot of you may have not seen it or seen it, okay? The information game on defense, keep a big lookout for that. They're going to be using cameras, like a security system, like they're going to have all kinds of intricate setups everywhere, and I guarantee you this is going to be a treat to watch because that's going to be so exciting to see how those two, like how those contrasting styles go together, right? You've got a CL team with that crazy style going against the Soniqs and Super. This is why we do it. This is why.
Yeah.
This is why I woke up today. This is what I live for.
I mean, yeah, it's hard not to think about it, right? Let's talk about the Soniqs for a moment because obviously, like we talked about it earlier, Super, the coach, the IGL, the in-game brain, the out-of-game brain as well behind the Soniqs. But, you know, it seemed like it didn't work yesterday. It seemed like there's a bit of a short circuit in the brain against Astralis. And do you think while we look at this roster, do you think it's maybe something where the strat just didn't take something vital into account, or was it just a matter of execution?
It felt like new Battleground, the Intel game needs to be held to a much higher standard, and this time it just wasn't. There was a Valkyrie unbanned in that game, was never utilized by the Soniqs. They didn't have a whole bunch of defensive rounds to really try it, but it still feels like a lapse in judgment. Drone game and their overall drone economy was incredibly lackluster. They would spend a lot of time doing it. They wouldn't be able to put drones in adequate flank positions. They didn't have enough intel whenever someone died to be able to relay something back to teammates. It kind of feels like they failed at a couple basic fundamental ideas and got outshone by Astralis' progression on a brand new map. However, we're going to like a known, proven stomping ground, a map that when the Soniqs played it, were so relentless on it that even though they lost it to international teams once in majors, they would keep going back to it to keep on perfecting their strategies and their attacking game plan for this map. So you would hope today, because of the Battleground, it will be a much better result.
Fair enough, yeah. Cookies, anything to add to that?
Yeah, so the other thing, I mean, with the Intel game, right? It's kind of funny how it makes players maybe seem a little pedestrian. Like Soniqs, star-studded roster. You know, it doesn't matter how star-studded and how amazing you are and how all this good stuff. If you don't know where you're going, you don't know where to look and all this good stuff, it's a game of Intel, and I think that will be the story for this map for sure.
All right. Well, Speaking of intel, we've got a little bit on one of the players in particular. We're going to talk about Yeti on your screen right there. And I got to say, Yeti was one of my favorite players to talk to when I was in Vegas a couple of years ago. Like,
Yes,
the
sir.
guy has just such an amazing history, like such a fun, like, passionate person to talk about. And if I was going to draw like a cartoon picture of like a college quarterback from the 1950s, I'd draw a picture of Yeti.
The
Put it out there.
50s.
Yep, that's right. He's great.
Definitely agree. He's one of the best people getting around. Such a positive, upbeat guy.
Yeah.
Mr. Energizer Bunny. And the thing is, he's Mr. Energizer. Even when he's 2-8, the guy's still going to show energy. He's still going to give his all. And
He'll
I
still
guarantee that's
flex
going to
occasionally.
translate into today. I'm guaranteed he's not even thinking about this. He's probably not even concerned with the fact that we're showing it. Oh, he's 2-8. He doesn't care. Today he's going to come in, play out of his mind, I think. This isn't the characteristic Yeti that we're used to seeing. Usually he's really dominant in those opening engagements and really dominant in those early instigations. So that may change today.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, a lot will be on the shoulders of Yeti as well. But, you know, in your mind, Jacob, like, who do you think really kind of needs to step up today compared to yesterday? Is it the whole team, or do you have someone else in mind?
No, but because of a 7-1, I definitely think the whole team is
Fair
in the
enough,
hot
yeah.
seat, so to speak. Again, only one best of one. I feel like Kansan and Grixer were still kind of on their A game, so to speak. Rexon in the mid round was still doing his job effectively. It's not even to say that, like, oh, because Yeti was doing bad, the whole team was doing bad. I
Sure,
felt like
sure.
it's an overall global failure. But yeah, don't go back to a new map if you're not that confident with it. I guess the only drawback is if you're going to a map like Chalet, you already know Parabellum's good on it too. So is that a worthwhile enough risk to take at a high level like this?
We're going to find out. I mean, I'm glad this is the map we're going to because, you know, somebody's going to have to take a loss, right? And
Yeah.
neither one of these teams want to. So there's an extra kind of element of tension coming into this one, as well as the tension that's already existing from them taking the losses yesterday as well in their first match. But let's move on and talk about Parabellum a little bit. This is a team that, you know, they did play it close against Beast Coast, more or less, but it was something where it seemed like the basics were a bit of a concern, huh?
I would say that one of the big things we actually didn't talk a whole lot about, we're on time constraints sometime, all right? Kool-Aid, that dude with the luscious hair on the right, he actually is playing a fragging role now. In Challenge League, he was a support where he played it like it was a fragger, all right? He would
I don't
crouch
mind
walk around as Havana, he'd just slam people. And I think him on Zofia makes sense. He was also 1-3 on the entry yesterday against Beast Coast.
I mean,
That's
he was at least in those engagements, right?
Yeah,
So he was
he's
getting
so,
there.
it's not a fear thing. This guy's fearless. It's can he do it against a team like the Soniqs, and can he be a compliment to creators because creators played out of his mind. Kool-Aid's gonna have to step in that it's the Zofia role, the entry role, and he's really gonna have to kind of play above what you would ever dream because
Right.
this is a guy straight out of CL against the Soniqs, against the Grixer. This guy's #1. Like Kool-Aid versus Grixer, who you got? Let's be real. Sometimes you ask tough questions, and Kool-Aid is gonna have to answer it, or this could get ugly.
I feel like when he was playing support roles, though, the fact that he would still frag out and have positive KD, he would. Not that he would play in the same aggressive way as like a Drip would play a breach support, but he still had enough reason or guts to kind of get into the fray. And his mechanical skill is there, something that I feel like never really gets complimented with a player like him. So it's nice that he was always holding up the back line, so to speak, but now Penguin's the one who's kind of taking more of that over. We already know Penguin's got the mechanical skill, and that's just the case with Challenge League teams. We oftentimes know the basics, the fundamentals exist. They're fantastic shots. Game sense wise, Penguin's kind of got that covered, and he's always there with strategy. But how does the rest of the team kind of form around him and give them dubs? That's just something they need to do more consistently.
So one of the people forming up around Penguin is going to be creators. That's the player we're going to talk about a little bit. We're going to take a look at some stats. We mentioned earlier, played really well yesterday, but it's a team effort, isn't it?
Yeah, they can't. It's just not going to be a one-man show. At the Tier 1 level, it worked in Challenger League throughout swaths of it. You know, they could get away with people maybe playing a little off or maybe a little slow. Won't be the case here. This is the big boy leagues. Yes, creators had 14, but past that, it wasn't much that you could really, you know, say was all that great for Parabellum as individuals. So, you know, we're looking at creators. I also want to talk about Eska. Was a kind of a, again, another middling. He wasn't like terrible, but he wasn't the Eska that we saw at SI 2021 either. So,
which reminder, Eska 3rd overall rated at SI 2021.
Yeah,
like literally 3rd place for a team that at that point wasn't even in Challenger League. No, sorry,
it's
they were.
Slow start.
But they hadn't
It's a
gotten
slow
anywhere
start.
from that point.
yeah, and it's like we in Challenger League, we made the excuse for him that he is a LAN player. he actually, I think we would ask his team about it too. He's like, he's holding angles like it's LAN online, right? And that's why his challenge league, like he's just getting slammed by people, you know, because it's online. Like it's different. You're just getting swung and deleted. But back on LAN now, look at your screens. That's LAN. That ain't online from
They're in person
anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So where's the? At some point, it's no longer an excuse to say that he's a LAN player or whatever. He's got to do it. And here we are. It's versus the Soniqs.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, it's such an interesting matchup, right? Because you have Soniqs kind of looking for redemption, right? Looking to make up for what happened yesterday, and then Parabellum kind of still striving to prove that they deserve to be here. They deserve to be in the NAL, right? A lot of people would say they do. We talked about a lot of bright spots, but they haven't shown it just yet. So they're going to get another chance in the moment. But I think what's equally interesting is that our casters and analysts are going to get a chance to make some predictions now. So let's send it over to our casters for this particular one, get their input on it. Pengu, Jonah, what do you think? Going to this one, what are the predictions going to be? Soniqs or Parabellum?
Thanks, Doa. We've got another good one on our hands, but I think the most important part of this one is, Nick, we've got to get your prediction percentage out of the dumps. You've got a 0% prediction percentage right now. Which is the team that's going to get you out of that 0% hole?
Well, there's two ways to go about this, right? Which is I can start taking bets, from teams and players being like, yo, don't vote for us because then we'll lose. And yesterday, both Soniqs and Parabellum went to a new map. Skyscraper, Soniqs went there, and Border, Parabellum went there as well. So now that we're on more common turf for both of these teams, that of being Chalet, I have to go with Soniqs, and I just hope that they're with me on this one because I need to get something going for me here.
All right. I hope for your sake you get out of that hole. Be nice to not have a 0%. For me, Parabellum is a team I've casted a lot. Over the last year in 2021 in Challenger League, I was watching them, and they are a Chalet team if there ever was one. Problem is, this is 3/5 of that old Parabellum roster. You've got Wimpy filling in for Blaz, who's just not quite in his role just yet, didn't get his visa in time. But you've got a Soniqs team that is good on Chalet. Like CJ said, biblical on this map. I think that a core Soniqs roster that has been together and played on Chalet as a whole for a long time now is going to be a little bit better than Parabellum. Even though they are good on this map, I've got to go with Soniqs as well.
Okay. Awesome.
All right.
That means that either we're both right or we're both wrong.
Yeah.
See, if Jonah fails, your prediction continues to sit at 0%. Which
Are you sure you want to go with what Pengu picked, Jonah? It seems like a dangerous thing based on yesterday.
I think I've got to do it. I think the Soniqs really do have an edge here. And even though, of course, as that CL caster, I really want to see Parabellum prevail, I'd be happy to be wrong here for two reasons, right? Parabellum could get that win, and Nick's percentage could still be at 0. That'd be a nice touch.
I'm just saying, this is the man that predicted X set yesterday with nothing to go off of. So
I was just sending it, Jacob. I was trying to get some spice in there.
Yes, you did, and now you regret it, don't you?
I do regret it. Yeah, it's my bad.
I appreciate the boldness. I appreciate it. We're going to catch back up with you two in a moment. For now, my analysts. Jacob, what do you got?
Well, regrettably, it's like trying to be the contrarian is nice.
Sure.
But the point about Chalet being played in two different leagues does hold firm here. We're talking CL made up of either very good Tier 2 teams, but that's Tier 2 teams, and then a lot of, not pug stacks, but guys who maybe are qualifying or are constantly restructuring. Sometimes the teams there don't always remain the same stage to stage, which means that if you're heavily prepared for a map and your roster remains consistent, you can blow through some of those squads and still have a really good record on some maps. Not the same case in the NAL. Even if we go through crazy roster changes, these guys are already proven to play at a top level. In spite of both these teams being undefeated on this map since Stage 3, I still got to give it to the Soniqs. That's a pure confidence factor you can shake off yesterday. And Parabellum, right now, I don't think I can give them that additional confidence level to get over this particular hump.
Wow, everybody going Soniqs, cookies. What do you think? Be honest.
You're doing it again.
No, I'm not.
No.
Suspense.
Soniqs.
that little chin raise, I thought you were.
Unfortunately, you make a good point. It's two different leagues. Parabellum's whole strategy in Challenger League was to play those, I guess I call them like qual maps. You play like the teams like Oregon maps like Oregon and Clubhouse are like kind of, simplistic. And that's why Parabellum is kind of like, it's like they play those alternative maps that the other teams like maybe crutch, like Oregon and Clubhouse.
Yeah.
So that's how they managed to get that 5-0 record, right? You go to the Chalets, you go to whatever, and this is the NAL, right?
Yeah.
Not going to work here. Unfortunately, maybe if they picked a different map, I would pick Parabellum, but I don't.
Sure, yeah.
Like
all right. So everybody going Soniqs. You're going Soniqs as well. And that just leaves the silver dollar. That's right. And, you know, I've decided I'm just going to do it this way. The team on the left gets heads, so in this case it's Soniqs. The team on the right, in this case, Parabellum, gets tails. There's tails, there's heads. We're going to flip it. Oh, it's tails. This is
No.
spicy. Coin says Parabellum. Is the coin going to be right? It is, remember, an inanimate object.
See,
Will it matter?
part of me is like, hey, if Soniqs win, it just continues to prove the coin more wrong. But if
Sure,
Parabellum wins, then it makes me fear for my job.
Yeah.
That's just it.
The coin had some right
Why
ones
am I on the
yesterday,
spot
some
right now?
wrong ones.
Why? Why is a piece of metal, why is a circle of metal making me fear for my job security?
Because you know deep down it has power. Power to move you. And we have to move along as well. It's time to talk about the community poll. That's right, a chance for you out there to get your opinions known about various things around the Rainbow Six ecosystem, as it were, to use one of those corporate terms, The question today is which team is going to end up at the bottom of the leaderboards? End up 0-2? Is it going to be Soniqs or Parabellum? It's easy to pick the winner. I guess by transitive property, it's also easy to pick the loser if you pick the winner. But anyway, we don't want you to pick the person who's the team who's going to come out, unfortunately, today with the L. Who do you think it's going to be, Soniqs or Parabellum? Let us know. Check back in with those results later on. But you know what? That means in just a few short minutes, we're going to be getting started with our first match of the day. Soniqs taking on Parabellum. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get the match started. See you in just a few.
Winning the NAL wasn't something that we set ourselves out to do from the beginning, but obviously we're going to go there and try to win it.
It definitely proved that we were the best in North America.
Winning a tournament is obviously always going to be a big deal, and to me, anybody who's going to downplay winning that tournament are people who didn't win the tournament.
People do undervalue it.
People are going to obviously downplay it if they don't win it. If they lose it, they're going to say they're not trying.
The NAL title means a lot for us.
It has that sentimental value of being special to me. It was actually my birthday the day we won, so that was a fantastic present. Spent a lot of money at dinner.
I mean, at the end of the day, when you're playing the best 4 teams in NAL, there's only so much luck that can go your way that you're considered a lucky team.
Still your placement, you're still winning something. So saying that you're just trolling, that's not true. If that's the case, you could say that about anything.
The same teams that could say, oh, we weren't trying as hard, whatever it may be, why? If you were saving strats, was it just to lose to us again? Because essentially that's what they did.
Invite was definitely a big improvement for us, and we just want to continue that success onto these next majors.
Obviously, international Siege is very different metas, and the play styles and everything come together into a big mesh.
The fact that we bounced back to place top 6 at Invite, I think, was something that was really good.
Internationally, we progressively got better throughout the year. The only team that outplaced us from North America was TSM, and they won the entire event.
Obviously, TSM won Invite, but we didn't get to play them at that tournament, so who knows, if we played them, we might have beat them.
For this year, it's to continue to build not only in remaining consistent within NAL, but international tournaments.
Last year, we were like the underdogs and, looking to prove ourselves to everyone, and now I think we've kind of done that. We found pretty consistent success. I would describe my team as...
We are the villains.
Energetic.
The Soniqs are the most aggressive team.
A little moody.
Hey, if I'm not winning, I root for them to lose, because I don't want another NA team winning.
But we're close. We're like brothers. We've been together for so long.
We are the villains.
We fight, but we're friends.
Soniqs versus Parabellum. Maybe not the most anticipated matchup on paper before yesterday, but with Soniqs getting absolutely stomped by Astralis, with Parabellum hanging in there with Beast Coast and keeping things exciting on border, this one has actually turned into quite a matchup.
Yeah, that's the thing about early stages, right? We don't know what to expect from either team in the beginning, and then slowly we get sort of an idea of what to expect, but I still think we're in this position where it's like, who's actually going to be coming out on top as the winner? And both teams yesterday went onto new territory, right? Border and Skyscraper, and both teams did not find success. So they now said, comfortable ground, we're going back to what we know of Chalet, and that's where everybody, us, and the entirety of the analyst desk, besides the coin, is like, well, Soniqs will win, they have more experience. But then the case is, does experience matter in this case? Because Parabellum, they can shoot back.
Right, not only can they shoot back, they do have a lot of experience on this map. Our analyst talked about it, I mentioned it when making my prediction. It's not like missing 2 players is going to change that much. You still have the core mind. You still have Penguin, that IGL figure, that creative mind behind the team, making those strats, cooking things up, and trying to keep things loose, keep other teams on their toes. That's exactly what they could use to their advantage here, because if you think about it, Soniqs yesterday on a map that maybe they weren't so familiar with, they kind of struggled to make those adjustments to their opponents. When Astralis came out firing on all cylinders, Soniqs just could not match them in the capacity that maybe we would have normally expected. So maybe that's what Parabellum are here to do. Maybe they are here to keep Soniqs on their toes. If they can innovate, if they can keep bringing out these new strats that Soniqs haven't seen before, maybe we could see a repeat of Skyscraper and Parabellum taking home the upset.
And that would be quite a big upset at that, because that leaves Soniqs with a 0-2 start to the beginning of the season, and that's not something that we expect from a top 6 placed Invitationals team, and of course winning the NAL last year. And you mentioned, Jonah, that Grixer yesterday didn't actually get a single opening kill or opening death against Astralis, so he just wasn't really in the server early on those rounds, and I think that plays a big factor in, well, same old here on the screen, it's the Thatcher ban, to start it off.
Yeah, and as we get into this, I do like you mentioned Grixer, and it's something we're going to focus on. Maybe they're shifting up roles a little bit, and he's not playing that entry force that we know him for, but to see him not get in a single entry engagement is a little bit unusual. But as we continue to look at our operator bans, like you said, the Thatcher is no surprise. To see those EMP grenades off the board is not unusual at all. And the Ying, although that may have been a little bit more unusual in the past, the Soniqs, they know that Parabellum love to use those Candelas. They love to just jump their way in the building. You use those flashes and those smokes to just cover an early push, and a map like Chalet that can lead to that aggression is a perfect spot for Ying, and that's probably why we're seeing her banned.
Yeah, and Cookie said how Parabellum, they love the information game and keeping an eye on their opponent during, Chalet, so to speak, and Soniqs therefore banned the Valkyrie. That means less information on the defensive side, which is where Parabellum is starting. And then, of course, the mirror, closes it out. So overall, a pretty normal situation. Ying being the only kind of like target ban that was chosen in this matchup, and we'll see how it plays out. Soniqs, they also played themselves, not typically on Chalet as much, but Parabellum, as you mentioned, they do.
Well, diving into round number 1, we've got Parabellum, of course, starting on the defensive side, and we don't see anything too unusual just yet. In terms of this lineup, we've got the Frost coming out on the basement site, which may be a little bit unexpected. Generally, you bring that Frost out when you see a site that has a lot of those windows to jump in, a lot of those positions that you're jumping in at the last minute, trying to get something going, and that's when those bear traps can be as effective as they would be in Silver, Elo, and Ranked or something like that. So Wimpy will be bringing that out, and you do have some intel focus from Parabellum as well. Eska bringing out those yokai drones on the Echo.
It's interesting that you say silver rank, because statistically speaking, Frost Traps actually have a higher success rate the higher elo you go up in. So Diamond and Champion players tend to get caught more in Frost Traps than silver players. So I guess that means that, Pro League, that's like a level above Champion, and Diamond and Ranked would mean that in Pro Play, we are the most likely players to be hit by those traps. Theoretically speaking, of course.
Yeah, it's so funny when you actually look at those stats, because when you're going for that push, when you only have a few seconds left, like happens so often at this level of play, you don't have time to look down at your feet and shoot out a bear trap. You've got to look elsewhere.
Something very spicy here. Direct attack, right? The Lion, the Glass, and the OSA, that's something that Soniqs, they went for in that attack or repick. I expect a fast push here. OSA shield in, smoke grenades can go out, the Glass can see through it, and you try to establish a plan. What can Parabellum do?
Well, here it comes already, looking to get aggressive. There go the smokes. Grixer on the coverage, and Super going for this plant right away. The toxic smoke, though, chokes him out, and he's forced to relocate, and he puts himself in danger, losing the diffuser in the middle of the site. Great shot from Kool-Aid. Parabellum with the opening frag now have immediately stopped Soniqs in their tracks, and now they know what they're dealing with. They're not going to play too loose on this bomb site. They know what Soniqs tried, and they know that it didn't work.
Yeah, they got to rotate off right now. We're inside a bar here from Yeti, kind of creeping on, trying to get something going for his team, but it's Wimpy finding another one for Parabellum, leaving them in the dirt right now.
Yeah, Wimpy getting that one back, but Yeti staring him right in the back and taking him down. He tried to drop down and get a second, but Eska is going to deny it. It's just up to Kansan and Grixer. The Glaz still up on the board, putting Soniqs in a pretty tough spot. I love where they started with this round. They tried to get creative, much like we've talked about Parabellum bringing out that kind of creativity, but it looks like, at least for this first round, yeah, it didn't work so well.
It's one of those strategies where you put everything in one basket, right? And if it worked out, and if the plan had gone down for Soniqs, the round is arguably over. You know, it's a win for them. And if Parabellum, if the defensive team can shut it down in its tracks when it occurs, well, then the defender's in a great position. The last smoke coming out from the side of Grixer on the glass, lines up above with a DMR actually, and well, he's the last man standing, right? No help, basically no drones, no one else really got inside the building. Really nice shot from him, but really, can you find the last three?
Yeah, this round really felt like it was over once Super dropped that diffuser on the site. Really good use of those smokes from Penguin, leaving Kansan left alone here in a very uncomfortable situation. He will be walking down the main stairs into essentially a crossfire. You've got somebody in the closet and connector, and actually Kool-Aid can do the work
He just swings it.
Yeah, he'll swing it and get the kill. Had some intel, probably got a call. Yeah, you can see the ping right on his position, and really had no trouble in closing that one out. So, you know, good attempt there from Soniqs to kick off the very first round, trying to set the pace here on Chalet. But Parabellum say, none of that shenanigans. We want to win this, and we're going to stop you in your tracks.
It's always nice to see confidence, especially, you know, Soniqs, their game yesterday was a 1-7 loss against Astralis. So you could be thinking, okay, Soniqs, you might be down now mentally. You know, it's a terrible performance yesterday. But opening up the round the way they did, even though it did not work, I think it does kind of send a good message from the side of Soniqs that they are here to play. They're not really afraid of trying new things. They can, you know, lose around here and there, and most importantly, they can try and do some funky strats, which is something that we don't typically see in Rainbow Six Siege as much recently. And Parabellum, once again, the Frostbite on basement, a little bit more atypical. On bar, a lot more common. We see it right now being put down below windows because that's typically where you're gonna catch those people jumping in. You know, when you're in that mid-vault animation, you gotta look down, shoot the frost trap, or look up and fight the opponent right in front of you. You gotta make that split-second decision of, well, where is the danger actually coming from?
Well, something we haven't talked about yet is, well, with the operator ban of the Ying taking her off the board, it leaves one of the generally banned operators of the Flores still in play. Super choosing to bring out those Rotero drones, but the opening blow is not found by him. It's Rexon instead. It looks like he was just spraying through the barricade in the main hall and just took down Eska. Pretty lucky there, I suppose.
Or unlucky, depending on which side you're on. And this is the thing that can happen randomly, where if you are at the wrong time at the wrong place, you know, if somebody's spraying up a window or a door or a barricade, etc., you can just get really unfortunate and find that stray bullet. And the one-shot headshot mechanic through that window or door frame will simply just take you out. You know, the bullet does not care whether you're wearing a helmet or not. You will always die in this case.
Well, Parabellum will now have to find a way to get that kill back. That may be on the shoulders of Wimpy here, as he is definitely the next defender in the line of, at least Soniqs' line of fire, as they try to clear their way through library up above. Any successful bar and games attack does generally depend on your ability to get some vertical control from above, but Yeti is looking to get some control from below. He's got his eyes right on Penguin's position on the main stairs. The EE1D will spot him out, and Yeti will clean that one up. The bomb actually going down at this point. Super just sticking it and able to get it done. Creators will clean him up, but the Soniqs, the advantage they have secured, it seems insurmountable for Kool-Aid at this point. He will get one back and tank down Rexon, but he has 35 seconds, 3 defenders to find, essentially defenders now, as they try to hold down this diffuser, and it is not looking great for him. He'll look down towards Chimney, look down towards that main hall, not spotting anyone there, because Soniqs right now, they're just sitting back in the post plant. There is somebody working their way up long in the dining hall. Kool-Aid will have a chance in that gunfight, but he just cannot pull it out. So Parabellum may have lost that body early, and they put him into a tough spot. Soniqs capitalized, and Super getting that plant down really helped out.
Yeah, Soniqs finding that opening kill in the first 7 seconds of the round really seemed to hit Parabellum hard because they were not just missing a player, but they're missing presence out on the map. Therefore, Soniqs got so much map control so quickly, and more importantly, they're actually doing the thing that I think that they do best. That's when you get Yeti on that +1 lurking position, you know, being Maverick in the basement. Not really doing anything per se, but having a presence somewhere on the map that's kind of abnormal, finding a free opening onto Penguin on that smoke on the basement stairs to fireplace, absolutely massive. And while that's going on, well, you got switches planting out of nowhere. So Soniqs are applying pressure so many different areas on the map, whereas Parabellum, they try to spread out thin, and that means they're all alone, there's no trade coming out, and well, all Soniqs has to do is win those individual gunfights once or twice in a round, and then they're in a great position to win it.
Well, one adjustment we're seeing here from Parabellum as they shift bomb sites is bringing out the pulse here from Eska. A solid component of this bomb site because, like I've talked about before, the vertical play can be just so vital when trying to take kitchen and dining. But you also could consider that this is Parabellum's way of trying to prevent Soniqs from getting those early pushes and getting into some advanced positions without Parabellum being aware of it. Think about Yeti in that last round, creeping his way into Snowmobile Garage, catching Penguin off guard and getting that kill because of it. If you've got that heartbeat sensor, theoretically you should know where those attackers are coming from at the all time. And yeah, here they come, already trying to go in for the blitz. Doesn't matter if Eska has that intel. Soniqs are already trying to take these fights, but Parabellum are shutting them down. Kool-Aid gets 2, Wimpy gets 1 as well, and Grixer is last alive just like that.
That's what we spoke about, right? Grixer aren't finding himself in these opening kills or deaths neither yesterday or so far much today either. And Soniqs, they're not finding the opening engagements on those aggressive pushes, and now 2 rounds out of 3, they've tried to get cheeky, tried to go really fast, and neither time has worked out at all. And, well, this round will be ended differently. This also goes the wrong way for them. The Lion, it's a great pick for these attempts to go quickly onto the bomb side, but so far it hasn't worked.
It's a little unusual, isn't it, to see the Soniqs go for this kind of strategy several times now.
Yeah, twice in 3 rounds.
Twice in 3 rounds when this is a team that, in theory, I mean, they're the NAL champs. They know that. They know that they should, in theory, be better than so many of these players. And that strat book, their ability to go take a site in the traditional way through utility clear, through map control, all of that, on paper, they should outclass Parabellum. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a little confusing why they're going for these rushes, these more high-risk situations, and they've been the wrong decision now twice in a row.
I think there's a very valid argument. They said, when you are arguably the better team, as you said, you should be able to just like fight them straight on 1v1, right? If they set up a defense somewhere, well, you go there, you pick it apart, right? And because you're the better team, you should come out on top. And typically we see these kind of, we can almost call them like quote-unquote desperate plays. I don't think they are. I think they're with intent. You know, they saw those 2 roamers, both of those rounds from Parabellum. They go for a straight attack, quick, confident, etc. But then, you know, they almost came to like a standstill, right? Once they worked their way through West Main in that previous round, they were standing still waiting for Parabellum to make the move where, well, if you're attacking the bomb side, you can't be standing still at any given moment because you got to get deep in there, get the bomb site control, find the opening kills, and plant the diffuser, and then you can stand still. So I think their plan is okay, but I think the execution, not enough confidence. And I think Grixer has to get in there and kind of lead the troops from the front to kind of get those first kills.
Well, not only that, but he's bringing those Rotero drones, and so if, like you said, we're going to see that more head-on traditional style of siege where you're clearing that utility, he can also lead the way with that explosive utility he brings to the table. And we are seeing Sonic slow things down a bit. Last time we were on this basement site, after all, we saw a Snowmobile Garage push with smokes, with glass, the whole 9 yards. Now we are seeing them approach from the wine cellar side of things, working their way in from Trench and from Big Garage to get a clear from the opposite side.
Yeah, and Rexon's Twitch drone actually found the Kai Claw from Kool-Aid right now. And this drone... No. Oh, actually, yeah, got the shield, not the ADSs, that's fine. The shield now being taken away from that pillar position is going to make Kool-Aid's life a lot more difficult once the wall gets opened up.
Super now will break out that exothermic charge. Look to get the wall open facing Kool-Aid. He's trying to step up and maybe get aggressive for a second. At least he thought about it before falling behind that pillar and allowing the smoke to cover his position as he continues to hunt for some kills. Kool-Aid getting antsy here. He's got 5 kills so far, so he's clearly confident, clearly winning some gunfights, but got to be careful not to put himself in overdue danger right now. It looks like it's Creators who's the one to fall victim to that problem, though, as Kansan is watching Westmain carefully and taking him down. But technically, the opening pick is still found by Kool-Aid because the down was not finished. Kansan will get that trade, but Kool-Aid follows it up with a double kill of his own, and Parabellum have retaken that man advantage, yet he does neutralize.
It's so ridiculous that Kool-Aid can make this look so easy because the position that he played and how he played it is actually so difficult. And finding 2 kills before you die yourself is actually remarkable. And that puts Parabellum in a great position with Yeti now onside the main breach of Snowmobile, not able to help his team. He can only fight this one singular angle. And if he doesn't find a pick here, he's kind of useless in this position.
Well, he's trying to get a nade going, but while he's doing that on the other side of the map, Rexon is making something happen on the wine cellar side of things. He takes down Penguin, but Yeti gets taken care of by Eska in return. It's back in a 2v2 with 30 seconds. Soniqs have the intel, and they've got the time to get this plant down. Looking for those yokai drones from Eska to see if there's any denial, but he'll take the fight and just swing head on instead, and that'll cost him his life. Last alive is Wimpy. He picks up and gets 1, but looks like we'll miss the last kill, but it looks like Soniqs must have won that one.
I was going to say, I think that's it for Wimpy, and I kind of feel bad for the man because he's been finding himself in so many 1v1s and 1v2s throughout today and yesterday, and to be honest, he just hasn't really found a ton of success in those 1v1s, and it's not necessarily on him because to get into a 1v1, that means your entire team kind of falls apart. We saw there in that replay that, yes, it was indeed the Twitch of Rexon that found that ending kill just before we cut the feed onto the replay of the players celebrating. And Wimpy, it sucks because he's a great player, right? He's here as a quote-unquote temporary stand-in until Blast gets in action with that visa situation getting sorted out. And Wimpy could have almost single-handedly won like 4 rounds of Parabellum throughout, this game plus the previous that they had. And he's just been kind of shut down in the 1v1 so many times over and over. I hope it doesn't really mess with his mental because it's not like he wants to get into those 1v1s. He just happens to be alive.
Well, we're all tied up. Despite Soniqs' peculiar decisions to go for those 2 rush plays and those failing, the 2 rounds that they have gone through a more traditional style of attack, they have won it. So I think they've learned their lesson about what works, and hopefully we'll see them continue that if they want to find these attacking wins. This Chalet map has historically been slightly attacker-sided, maybe a little bit 50-50, that 3-3 split is probably the most common outcome, but with repick introduced, with the Soniqs on attack here, we would definitely expect them to have a little bit more of that edge. Parabellum are doing a good job so far, just making sure they stay even with them.
The things that Soniqs have been focusing on is, what harbors do they bring, and then what utility do they bring. Rexon has been on Twitch for most of the game. He's now on the Zero. Super has been on hard support. Now he's on the Flores, which allows Grixer to get more aggressive on the Finger that 1 round, and now Iana. Kansan and Yeti is like the 2 stables right now, keeping that line DMR, and Yeti playing the Maverick pretty much every single round on both Skyscraper and now here in Chalet. So Yeti, Maverick duty, has the grenades, they have the soft breach, and of course Super always bringing flashbangs for the ADS clear.
It looks like Soniqs are going through, looks like the same approach they did last time on this site. You stick Yeti in down below to try to catch Parabellum off guard, while the majority of your attack is focused on working their way top down. You also, though, have a unique entry here from Grixer. He is all alone in kitchen right now, looking towards Trophy where Kool-Aid is sitting just below the stairs. Grixer probably has some intel to work off of. Maybe he's hoping somebody rotates down from Solarium and he can catch him on the swing, but Kool-Aid right now is remaining tucked in the corner. Grixer does have a drone, though. He'll spot his feet, pop right up, and great intel. Good timing from him gets him the opener for the first time.
Yep, and there we go. That's a Grixer getting active on the opening engagement, and it's no other than Kool-Aid that he finds, the top gunner for Parabellum. He was 7-2. He will now be 7-3 instead. And these were terror drones actually coming from the basement blue stairs, working their way up the staircase to take down the shield, doing great work. Actually snuck past Eska's yokai drone that unfortunately nobody was watching and nobody was getting active on. And Soniqs have really slowed down their gameplay now, making sure they drone every single inch of this map and they can make an adequate decision clearly with intel.
What they're not doing right now, though, is actually clearing library. They're just holding angles, hoping somebody swings. They're not throwing in utility to force creators out, to force Wimpy to rotate down below. We might be seeing a little bit of a bamboozle here, trying to prank Parabellum into thinking that top-down clear is coming, where instead they're going to go a bit more direct. I mean, these Rotero drones are already sneaking in the site, and they could theoretically jump in at any moment.
That they could, and we see now Grixer with this nade in the hand can open up the round. Lion Charge comes out as well, and what will happen with this push? Will they go for it or sit around for more longer?
Well, Wimpy denying the first will slow things down for the Sonics, and he actually get a double kill and shut down Grixer as well. Kansan falls thanks to creators.
Oh my
Wimpy
God.
just stuck in a double gunfight here and eventually felled by Yeti and his pistol, but Sonics with 10 seconds and a disadvantage have to move on. Good flash, and that was well timed, but Super falls, leaving this one all on the shoulders of Yeti with so low HP. The diffuser is out of pocket, and he is out of time. Parabellum playing that one extremely patiently. Sonics tried to give them a bit of a run around and maybe mislead them into what they were doing exactly, but it ended up actually working out so well for the Sonics.
Yeah, and you said bamboozlement, and it almost feels like that was kind of the name of that round because Sonics had the opening kill. They had more than half the round available, about 1:47 left when that kill went through, and then nothing happened, right? Sonics expected Parabellum to get aggressive or get a move on, and they were hoping that they could take advantage of it, but Parabellum understood that they have the entire bomb site in control. They got the vertical up in library. They still got top blue control. They don't actually have to make a move anywhere on the map right now. They can sit comfortably and just wait it out. And then Sonics, well, they got choked down on time, had to kind of get really, really rushy in with the push, and it didn't work out at all. And we're seeing the bomb site rotation right now. Basement, bar, kitchen, basement, bar, and then, well, back to basement. We're not going to go to kitchen again, but still. We're working our way through here, and mixed results in basement so far, right? The very first time, Sonics rushed with the glass, the OC on the snowmobile primary breach, and second time around, there was like a backside wine cellar attack primary focus, with Yeti rappelling on the snowmobile with a Maverick line on his own, and that worked a lot better for Sonics to do that more quote-unquote default approach to the map.
Well, Sonics will likely try to go through something like that again. It was pretty direct towards wine cellar last time. They didn't really focus on getting that overall map control. Parabellum are certainly hoping Sonics try to take that map control because we do see a pretty substantial extension. You've got players extended into bar, but you've also got creators and Wimpy all upstairs on this roam. That basement site is generally pretty heavily dependent on that roam because if the only really way to stop the attackers from going straight at you is to try to delay them, surprise them, throw them through a loop by playing up above.
Absolutely true, and it seems like Sonics are somewhat contesting it. Like, sure, they're not going top floor just yet, but they have made their way through that first floor of kitchen and trophy, and you can easily make your way up those solarium stairs trying to figure out where the roamers are. But now the question comes to Sonics, do you care about the top floor at all? And it doesn't seem to be the case because they got the primary of car garage, they got trophy, they got the Westmain stairs, and that's really the only flank you care about. And one single player can hold down both flanks from solarium stairs and Westmain stairs, and then the other four players can work their way inside the basement of trench. Here you see Super already now joining out the bomb side, Rexon trying to figure out where is the Kite Claw, where are the mute jammers, and then you gotta problem solve how do we clear those pieces of utility, and then once you cleared them, that's when the walls gets opened up, lines of sight, apply pressure to the bomb site defenders, and then you can start talking about the execute. But right now, with this one soft wall, which is a little bit different from the side of Parabellum, C4 comes out, doesn't find the kill, and Rexon can slowly start breaking in this cabinet to get that jammer to allow Super to then work the wall. But not just a jammer, there's also a Kite Claw hiding somewhere at the bottom left of that reinforcement, and I don't think they know the whereabouts of this claw just yet, which means Sonics, they're going to be burning a lot of time, not really doing anything.
Well, they have gone pretty direct, like you said. You do have Kansan up above to secure that flank potentially, but right now everyone else is concerned on pushing this site. You've got Super, who's gotten this breach open successfully now. You can hear the exothermic charge detonating, so he's going to hold this angle by pillar, because last time we know how aggressive Kool-Aid played this and how he was able to get it done.
Absolutely, and Kool-Aid, we'll see, man of the game here so far. No C4 in his pocket, which means this shield and his gun is all he has to work with. And from the side of Sonics, they have 2 grenades, but they're gone now. That's the only nades from Grixer. Now all they got are flashbangs and a lion charge because Yeti isn't there just yet.
Kool-Aid is such a good player in this position right now, and once again, it is giving Sonics a lot of trouble. They're running low on time, but Kool-Aid has been forced back. That shield destroyed, but Penguin is still here and still has a shield to hold down the Sonics. They need to step up and get a move on. Penguin is using these smokes to slow them down. Kool-Aid is backed off. He's got the support of creators. There's somebody else also sitting close in Blue Hall, but Super is getting this bomb down, and nobody from Parabellum is there. Rexon and Kansan get one each on the coverage. Penguin is felled. Wimpy does get 2 back, and Eska with a C4 out of nowhere brings this one back. Yeti has to clutch this. He gets 2, looks for the last, but Eska denies it, shutting down Yeti at a moment's notice, but boy, that came close.
That's a a heartbreaking round, right? Because it went back and forth, and well, Parabellum, they're doing the right thing. They're rotating players back and forth, but in the midst of that rotation, somehow Super snuck into the bomb side, and then it looked so hopeless because no one was able to find the diffuser or find the picks, and within 2 seconds, Parabellum finds 3 kills, they get the advantage, and they swarm Yeti, the last remaining attacker, who had to rotate halfway across the map to use his grenades because Grixer was taken out by Kool-Aid. Eska, good job, buddy. That's a 4-2 side split here. That's great for Parabellum.
That was a close one, and you don't often see, we've talked about this so much just over the first Playday, you don't often see defensive retakes in Siege go very well at all. In that post plant, once the bomb is down, the attackers, they sit back, they wait for you, but this time, Parabellum, well, they made it happen. Eska made it happen, a perfectly timed C4, and yeah, Yeti did almost get those 3 kills, but he could only muster 2 before eventually being felled himself. So like you said, a successful half for Parabellum. 4-2 defensive-sided Chalet so far. That is a great way to start, and it's making all of our predictions look a little bit rocky right now, Nick.
It does. And to be honest, you know, you can almost make the argument that what if Soniqs had just played default Siege for those 2 rounds where they went for a side rush, the first on basement and the second on kitchen bomb side? Could this have been a different scoreline? Maybe a 3-3. If anything, if one of those rounds had worked out differently, but that's the thing about Rainbow Six Siege or any game really, is that you can't really play in hindsight because, you know, Soniqs, they did those executions in mind that it was going to work out, and then, well, Parabellum responded so well that it just turned out that they didn't. And now Soniqs, they have to defend the exact same bomb sites themselves that Parabellum was doing so efficiently, and their approach so far to this basement bomb site is quite different. Both the attacks on Parabellum going library side, taking top floor control, whereas when Soniqs were attacking, they were going west main and trophy kitchen on the first floor. So very different approach from both teams so far.
The one risk, of course, with going through a full map clear is that you are going to encounter exactly what Soniqs want you to encounter. Those roamers, those extended defenders with their utility, and someone like Grixer, who's now running all over the place on the alibi. He hasn't really been heating up much today, didn't do much yesterday. This is really where Soniqs need him to shine. If he can just pester Parabellum as they work their way in on that attack, they could be put in a really good spot. But wait a second here, we've got Kool-Aid going for a bit of a sneaky play. I mean, CJ said he likes to just crouch walk in and make a move towards the site, and he has already gotten a little bit aggressive. Problem is, he has that diffuser in his pocket, so he's going to make the smart decision and back off.
And that's your thermite player with diffuser jumping into the bomb site, basically, and he would have continued going if it wasn't that default cam spotting him out. And that's Kool-Aid for you right there, ladies and gentlemen. A CL player who has absolutely zero fear of going in when he has to.
Well, boy, that one almost got troubling for Parabellum, but he made the smart move, eventually got out of there, and will now play this remainder of the round. Only a minute 15, probably a little bit more controlled, but time has certainly slipped away from Parabellum a little bit here. They do have that top floor control, but Grixer is still a factor.
And with this line of sight being opened up with the 1.5, that is going to cause some damage. And sure, you got the map control of your Parabellum, but what can you really do with it, right? Because as long as Grixer is here, he's going to be limiting what you can do with the verticality. Kool-Aid now, the flashbang is going to start the execute, but can they actually get the plant down successfully?
Well, Penguin will get the first on the coverage, and now Kool-Aid, his job is to stick that plant. Parabellum now just going to sit back and wait for Soniqs to make this move on the retake, but Kansan, that C4 is off the mark, and where is the rest of this Soniqs team? They're getting cut off in connector. That's Penguin. He's got a double kill. Eska cleans another one up. Goodbye, Super. It is Grixer and Rexen, who were nowhere close to the site, and now they've got to come back. They only have 30 seconds. Penguin gets a triple. He knows there is one more around the corner. Nearly gets that quad, but Rexen is able to shut him down just before. He's got to find 4 more kills, though. He's got 20 seconds. He's got to find a way to get this diffuser, and it is all but over. Parabellum securing their 5th round here, unless we see a miracle in these last few seconds, but it is not looking likely. Kool-Aid, actually Eska will clean him up just for good measure, but look at them. They're feeling good. They're looking good. They have a 3-round lead.
That they do, and they're finding the picks, right? Almost a flawless round for them, and completely different response from Soniqs. Like, the last remaining players of Yeti and Grixer, they had to pull down a barricade on the train side of the map to enter the bomb site to help try and retake it. Whereas, well, Parabellum, they played so much more open and fluid, and they retook together. There was almost no contesting coming out from Soniqs when that plant was going down. C4 went wide, no toxic babes inside, and it just didn't do anything to stop Parabellum from achieving that post-plant situation, and I think it makes perfect sense reasons as to why we see a tactical timeout from the side of Soniqs. Hit the brakes, talk it out, what's happening.
But look at all those grim faces. I mean, this is not the look we are used to seeing of the Soniqs. These guys, I mean, clearly they got to focus right now. They gotta get to the grind because it is looking troubling for them. They got only 1 round out of their game yesterday, and so far they've only found 2 against Parabellum, the newcomers to the NAL against the NAL champs. It looks like a no-brainer on paper, but Soniqs are struggling nonetheless. Hopefully for their sake, that timeout was enough for them to regroup. We saw Goddess there in the background in that coach managerial role, you know, combined with that brain power, that mastermind of Super, really trying to get this team out of the hole they found themselves in. But to be in this hole, a 3-round hole on the defensive side of Chalet, is a tough spot to be in. There's no question about that.
No, it is. And it's especially frustrating because, well, you're on Chalet, which sure, both teams, they like this map, but Soniqs played in NAL, Parabellum played in like CL and qualifiers, so it's like, well, surely Soniqs, they have, you know, arguably more experience on it, and they haven't lost it yet since Stage 3. It's 5-0 lead so far for them. That means that they've beaten out the likes of, you know, Dark Zero, SSG, TSM, like teams that are really, really good at this map. They scrim it every single day, or at least every single week, and it doesn't look like they're really being themselves 100%. And sure, they've tried some funky stuff. They've done the rushes. They're trying to play arguably a little bit of a different approach to the game that they did previously to keep things new and not keep it the same old, and it hasn't worked out so far. But I will say for Soniqs, the rounds have been quite close, right? We've had multiple 1v1s, we've had multiple really close calls with those rush takes, and if 1 or 2 gunfights had gone differently, the scoreline wouldn't be 2-5 right now, but a lot more even.
Just took a look at my notes here, and if I'm not mistaken, we have PB getting the opening kill in every single round but 1. Just showing you how much of an issue Soniqs are having in that regard right now. We talked coming into this match about Grixer not living up to that entry potential, and right now on the scoreboard, we are seeing that very concern.
I will say, a lot of rounds, sure, Parabellum has gotten the opening kill first, but there's like an immediate trade back. So while it is one-sided for the first kill, I will say that half of those rounds have been follow-ups closely, but you are correct. Especially from Grixer, especially the opening kills, not just today. Against Astralis yesterday on Skyscraper, Soniqs had the exact same problem, basically not having a single player go positive in that entry department, struggling to find map control. And right now, Parabellum, similar story. They cannot get in the building right now. They're just sitting, holding angles, and burning down the clock. But that favors the defenders of Soniqs right now. They can wait for this.
Yeah, this does look like a Soniqs favorite situation, and as Kool-Aid takes 99 HP worth of damage here, it is looking even more troubling, but Creator steps up, does what he does best, and collects a frag onto Rexon. He does get traded, though. Like you said, the immediate trade game from Soniqs, it is there on the entry, even if the entry is not. But what that does, the play from Creators, is it gives Parabellum the top floor control that is so coveted on a site like this.
It does. I mean, they got what they wanted, but the only downside here is that Finger is taken off the board, and with Kool-Aid being 1 HP, that means that he will stay on 1 HP for the remainder of this round. No adrenal surges will be used, nobody can get boosted back up, and Soniqs, they're playing on both basement stairs of Fireplace and Blue, trying to play out off the bomb side, holding the exterior, and possibly trying to walk in with that execute. There's not that many safe grounds on the side itself, so you gotta get creative with your positions.
And the first player that Parabellum have to force out is Super. That's why he just got naded out of his mind, and here comes the pre-fire from Penguin with the LMGE. He's just gonna keep spraying him down, and he gets another. That's 2 for Penguin. Kool-Aid getting this plant down with the IGL holding this coverage, but Yeti will shut down Penguin, and now he's in a pretty good spot to deny this. Kool-Aid, though, sneaks out the window under that cover. Eska from above should be able to take down Yeti, no problem. It's actually Kool-Aid who ends up taking him down through the drone hole, and it is all up to Grixer. Good headshot there. He finds one with a DMR, but Wimpy from behind puts Parabellum on top yet again. They have a tremendous 4-round lead right now on Chalet. This is history we're looking at.
Match point time, huh? Match point?
Oh, yeah.
Already. Okay. So what happened here actually was that they grenaded Super. He was like down to 1 HP, and when they did that, Penguin dropped the hatch and she started spraying with that Sophia LMG, and Super, because of that grenade impact and doing so much damage to his health bar, he couldn't hear the drop, and they had no information about what was about to happen. And then you see that MG, the 150 as we call it, holding down left click, getting 2, almost 3 kills, the entry, and while that distraction was happening, well, Kool-Aid was planting the diffuser, somehow got outside the window, outside the map, for the post plant as well, and then you had SK above on the vertical play, for that post plant position as well to hold down the diffusers that nobody can diffuse. And Soniqs, you gotta get something going. We gotta vote, a community vote, a poll. Which team will end up on the bottom of the leaderboards today? And well, if you voted for Parabellum, I have bad news. What? The 53 in favor of Soniqs losing?
I would have honestly been.
I would have not expected that.
Maybe they were like, I'm picking the winner, but no. You were picking the loser. Whoever's going to be on the bottom of this leaderboard.
Maybe they can't read. I don't know.
Or maybe everyone in the community, they knew something we didn't about the power of Parabellum on Chalet. I mean, frankly, I should have known. But hey, I really did think the Soniqs were going to come to play this stage. And right now, it seems that they are nowhere to be found, frankly. This is only 3 rounds through 2 play days, and if Parabellum can close this one out, that will be all the rounds that Soniqs are able to secure after the first week of the NAL, and that is very concerning for them.
Absolutely, and we often speak about the value of IGLs and leaders, which is super from the side of Soniqs, and we say that, he's not supposed to top frag, he's not supposed to get crazy amount of kills or clutches, but I do think we have to talk about the elephant in the room, that he's 0-8 right now with a single assist to his name. That means that out of every single person that's died in every single round so far, he's done damage to a single player. And that can be C4s, toxic babes, bullets, any kind of damage really, and hasn't gotten a single kill. And when if this was a, opposite scoreline, Soniqs leading 6-2 against Parabellum, you'd be like, you know what, Super's doing great. But right now, when you're down in the dirt, you need every single player to fire at 100% because it's the opening kills and the gunfights where you're losing rounds.
I mean, that does not put it all on the Super's shoulders, though. I mean, Grixer was one of the top 4 fraggers internationally. Last year, he is 4-7 right now. Kansan, not so far behind, 5-7. He was one of the only 2 players on this Soniqs roster who went positive yesterday with 1.0 KDs. It was both Kansan and Rexon, both of whom are negative right now. It is Yeti, who was 2-8 yesterday, the only player who is finding the scoreboard in any sort of meaningful way. Rexon is the first one to find the scoreboard, so for the second time, we can say that Soniqs have secured the opening pick and to take down Creators, one of these big fraggers. That is generally a good thing to do, especially because he is on the Finca, but keep in mind that all these other kills that Parabellum are finding, they're sitting pretty and they're pushing in. Kool-Aid takes down Kansan to kick things off. Super finally finds the scoreboard and gets one. Yeti follows that up with a kill onto Kool-Aid from above, and it looks like Parabellum moved in a little bit too quickly.
Yeah, not really understanding or at least knowing that the verticals were here from Yeti and Super. They had that on lockdown with the crossfire, and then they're still trying to make their way through the bottom side, but in a 2v4 and these shields in their faces, that's going to bode very difficult.
Well, Eska does get one, and this one is not totally out of the question yet for Parabellum. Wimpy has still a good amount of HP to work with, but yeah, there are 3 Soniqs full HP defenders, and it looks like Parabellum don't exactly know where they're located. They are nervous about Rexon, understandably so, because he is applying some pressure from Piano right now. Now swinging wide into Office, not quite finishing off Eska, but doing enough damage to really hurt the chances of Parabellum going forward. Wimpy also taking a couple more bullets from Grixer here out in West Main, who's just going to sit back and wait for this push to come in. Grixer does get down, but Super lines him up, and just as we call him out, he gets 3 kills of that round.
He's on the board, and not just on the board, he's actually up there with his teammates now, and sure, it's still like more of a team performance from Parabellum. They're much more even in the kill department, but we should have just spoke about Super earlier when he was 0-6, because then maybe Soniqs would have gotten around previously. But either way, it's been said, it's been done, and Super heard it. He took offense to it and said, you know what, you want me to get some kills? I'll get some kills. He give you 3 in a single round, in fact, and now, he can basically get no kills further, and we can be like, you know what, Super, he did his part. He got his kills. All he needs. Back on the smoke, Super is right now. That's what I spoke about earlier, those toxic babes. If you do damage, that will give you an assist. So we often see operators like, the Lesion, the smoke, etc., damage-based gadgets. You get like a lot of assists. Or Twitch mains back in the day getting like 10 assists a game because you're sapping people in prep phase. That doesn't work anymore. With the attacker repick, you get a normal drone if you're the Twitch. And speaking of attacker repick, guys, right-hand side of the screen. I mean, this can still change, but right now, Parabellum is showing a Blitz, Glass, Thermite, Gridlock, and it's a basement defense. We've seen this almost exact situation before from Soniqs. They did the Glass, Osa, and they're staking it. They're doing it, but the Blitz is gone, so the Twitch is there instead. That gives you the gadget to clear utility, has a Claymore, so no smoke grenades, but isn't it kind of odd that we see both teams possibly attend the same situation?
We'll see if it works, though, for Parabellum. Soniqs do have 3 players up above, at least Grixer and Rexen on that top floor. Looks like Yeti might be tucked over in that bar area, and Parabellum, they are just waiting for their moment to strike. They do have to get rid of this Electroclaw first, and Kansan is playing close, at least on the stairs, to put another Electroclaw into play if the situation calls for it, but he's got the first. Here comes Kool-Aid getting that one down. If he can get it down in time, this one could open up in their favor, and here they come. The first smoke goes down, and Creator's on the coverage. The second smoke goes in all the way deep, and Kool-Aid, he's not planting default, he's planting all the way in the site, and Soniqs have no idea. Penguin gets the Claymore kill to shut down Rexen, but Yeti, he storms back and gets a kill. Grixer claps Creators, Eska gets one, but it is all up to him now because Kansan has taken down his remaining teammate. He does have eyes on that diffuser from above, but Soniqs have 2 players, and if they play this well, they should be able to get this done. Super has been down, though, unrecoverable at this point. Just kidding, he's going to be picked back up just in the nick of time. But Soniqs do have to get a move on. They've got 20 seconds, and Eska has this angle all the way from above on the balcony here in Fireplace Hall, looking to secure this angle and secure this round. Downs Yeti, there's one, and he only has a couple seconds left to burn. Soniqs are out of time. They're not on the diffuser, and it's the round. Eska takes it, gets the triple, and that is the map. Look at that energy. That is a round. That is the creativity from Penguin that we just saw.
It is so smart that you smoke off all the positions, you keep Soniqs guessing as to where you're planning, and you don't plan default because it doesn't make any sense. You go all the way to the bomb site, you plan deep on that reinforced walls between the bomb site itself, and sure, everyone falls apart, but all you need is one hero, and that was Eska. On the vertical, ran up above, took down both cameras that were granting Soniqs information, and played that post plan beautifully. And that is on a match point as well. So calm, literally eyes in his veins, didn't shake for a moment, had a clear idea in his mind, executed it, and won the round.
Oh, that right there was just so nice. I mean, that is why we love the NAL. We love that creativity. These minds they're bringing out. They're showing us showcasing these new strategies. Now we're going to see that, I'm sure, a lot more often. Maybe some players in Ranked are even going to try to pull that one out, but it is not easy to do. I mean, the foresight that they had to bring that one out. I mean, thinking about how they would be forcing the Soniqs to move around that map, right? When they move in that site, when they push in Garage, what are the Soniqs going to do? They're going to collapse on that site. They're saying, get back to that site as soon as you can. Guess what? That frees up the top floor. Eska can sneak his way up there, and then he found the perfect position. That was so well played from him. I loved it. I loved it. I really did.
And it's one of those things what Attacker Repick can really bring to Rainbow Six Siege on a professional level, a competitive level, is that, well, with the old system of, you know, a reveal phase and a single 6-pick to a different operator, this would have never worked because you would have showcased, you know, the smoke operators or anything, you know, the blitz they were showing at the beginning or the glass. And with the attacker repick, being able to change 1, 2, 3 or all 5 attackers can give you these extremely rewarding situations where if you use your drones accordingly and gain the right information and then make that risky decision, you can go all in.
And man,
that's what we saw.
It looked great.
It looks really great.
Pulled it off. Parabellum pulling off, you know, a little bit of an upset here because we all predicted Soniqs, and I'm sorry to say.
Oh boy.
I hate to break it to you, but
are we still on 0?
Okay, not going to happen for you there.
We fist bump because you also lost.
Yeah, I also lost, but hey.
I'm the bigger loser.
You are the bigger loser, but hey, Parabellum wins. I'm happy about that, even though I didn't get my prediction right, but we've got a lot to talk about. Clearly, some of these plays we're going to break down a little bit further on our analyst desk, but we're going to take a quick break. Before we do that, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. On my mind, I can't lie. On my mind, I can't lie. Pull you down till you dry. Pull you down till you dry. All the time, ease my mind. All the time, ease my mind. I know that you're dangerous, I'm addicted to you. I might rent the Lambo and go drive it like it's stolen. I've been living wild, I'm just going through the motions. Stumbling out the Uber, grab my hand, gave me the notion. Swimming in your water, but it feels just like the ocean. I can't lie, I've really been addicted to you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my good and
Welcome back to NAL, ladies and gentlemen, and guess what? The coin was correct. I didn't ask for this power. It's not my power, in fact. I am only the vessel. The coin has all the power. It's hard for both of you to handle. I understand. You know, Jacob, of course, the coin is kind of becoming your nemesis, and you know, Cookies, I thought you were the avatar of the Challenger League. You keep picking against Parabellum. I mean, what's going on?
That coin is my sleep paralysis demon now. It's going to be.
Okay.
I'm a traitor. You know, I
traitor against your own.
What did we learn?
You know, I come in here hooping and hollering about Parabellum. For the all of 2021, I'm hooping and hollering. Parabellum this, Parabellum that. I don't vote for them the first 2 games.
I know.
This one, more so than yesterday, would have made sense to not vote for them.
Yeah.
And then now I'm here looking like a Muppet on live television because I'm a traitor.
Everybody loves the Muppets, though.
Do they?
Yeah. I mean, come on. Kermit,
I mean, it
Gonzo, everybody
wasn't
loves
my era. I mean, I guess like Sesame Street was technically, but yeah. Well, so here's the thing. Parabellum, great win. Very close game against Beast Coast. You could have argued that if it wasn't for a couple basic mistakes, maybe they at least forced that game against BC yesterday to overtime. In this case, though, I'm more concerned for the Soniqs because that's 4 rounds over 2 games, which it could have been a lot worse. It could have been 7-1 on this one again. They at least claw 3 rounds back, but for the love of God, if this kind of trend continues, there are some teams that have to lose 2 games straight today because they lost yesterday and they're facing losing teams against today, but it's like, Soniqs isn't the kind of team I wanted to put in that category, especially after how they performed at the Sixth Invitational. This is the wrong side of the coin to be on. For no pun intended.
Sure, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm shocked too, actually, right? Because I mean, this is the team that obviously came into this league looking very strong. You know, it turns out that doesn't look like it's the case in the actual maps. So let's get into that a little bit further. We're actually going to jump ahead and check out some of the replays here. The first one we're going to take a look at is from round 6. This was the last defensive round for Parabellum, if I remember this correctly, and this was something where they were just able to handle the aggression coming in from Soniqs pretty well, weren't they?
Yeah, so if you look at it, the Soniqs are kind of funneled into 2 different spots. They want to take all the way from like the cellar side on Trench, they want to push from Car Garage. They've already got breaches open. Kool-Aid opens up the frags and takes down Grixer, already a big op to lose, especially since he's not playing Finka, so there's no additional HP to wade through. But what they do have control over at this moment is if they move into 1 from here, Super's about to tank the smoke damage and still try to go for default plant. Kansan and Rexon are hoping that they've got the cross all the way from north to south to be able to handle Kool-Aid, who sprints away from Pillar and gets back out into Connector, and he's about to have some help when he does that. Super, like I said, tanks the damage. Rexon's got a cross, so does Kansan. This looks unwinnable. Wimpy swings, finds 2. Eska also scampers back to Khan, secures 1 with the Nitro Cell, and despite Yeti managing to secure 2 more downs, it still doesn't go their way.
You want to know the other side of the story there? Parabellum yesterday, I would argue, the difference in the match that they lost yesterday was simply put, they couldn't clutch how many 1v1s they lost against Slash, against Beast Coast. Today, the Eska 1v3 at the end, the clutch you just saw, it's crazy.
Can you see that Eska 1v3? I want to see that again.
Oh, we will.
Oh,
we will.
Please tell me that's next.
Oh, absolutely.
I would love to talk about that one.
Of course.
I want to get passionate about that one because that one is going to be.
I mean, can you expect anything less? That was clutch, but it was also control from Eska. Just like the positioning it took after you know when the plant came down. Let's just check it out. Go ahead and break it down.
Yeah, let's talk about how just amazing this one is. So Soniqs, first off, they tried this earlier in the game. It was a much worse version. Look where Kool-Aid plants, way deeper, right up against that soft wall. And Soniqs, lack of information. Take a look at the left side of your screen. Do you see any cameras? Do you see any way of knowing what's going on? All of a sudden, we're in a 1 versus 3. And Eska, based on where that's planted, he's gonna walk 3 floors up. And this guy, look, I think that was like a bulletproof too, by the way. So they didn't hear him sledge.
There was
number 1.
intel.
That's how ridiculous this is. They didn't hear him sledge apparently. No headphones. There's a default there. No one's on it, I guess, or they're not talking. I don't know. But Soniqs, they do rotate up. But they rotate up the opposite side. They take the Alpine
right now.
They go up, like, I don't even know where they're at right now. I'm like, this whole time I'm like, where are they? Where are they rotating from? They finally get there's 9 seconds left on the plant, and that plant spot, the game sense from Eska, finally, the Landska. This guy's 11-4. He should have got his last kill here. But wow.
I mean, that was amazing. Like, I mean, who is that? Like, how unexpected is that, right? To like go 2 floors up from the plant. I mean, obviously in Rainbow Six, you can kind of create sight lines from a lot of different areas, right? So to a certain extent, it feels expected, but how much you actually see it in functional gameplay?
I remember like back in the console days, remember when you'd hold angles from like 2 floors above because there's enough soft floors to do that with. In this case, it's more surprising because it was a 1v3 pullback.
Right.
After they use all their smokes, additional utility, throw bodies into the plant itself. Once we get there, cool. But then we switch over, we get to that vertical presence. Good thing it was Sledge alive to open that hole. Otherwise, Esco wouldn't have been able to pull that clutch
That's what
out.
takes me out about that is he literally said, put the camera on me. Where's the camera?
Did.
He literally goes.
And wins the round.
It's like, where's the reaction from Sonic? They took so long to get up the stairs.
You know, sometimes people make fun of Sledge because all he gets is a hammer, right? He doesn't actually get a great, complicated gadget. He makes it work. You know what? We're going to talk to somebody else who made it work. We've got Penguin on the line with us right now from Vegas. Penguin, how's it going? Can you hear me, man?
It's going good, better than yesterday. So
yeah, I guess so. So I wanted to ask about that actually. So obviously you come in here today, you get the big win against Soniqs. So the question I've got for you is, you know, what do you do, you know, overnight? Because honestly, there's not a lot of practice time. You don't really have a big opportunity to change some fundamentals, rework game plans, and things like that. So how do you go from what happened yesterday to what happened today?
Well, I mean, like I don't even know what it is, but historically, we've always started extremely slow. You know, at SI, we lost our first 2 games like abysmally, and then day 2 we won all 3. In CL, we lost all 3 games and then came back and like won it. So, I mean, we always started off slow. I think kind of just like getting rid of the jitters. Day 1, coming to day 2, we identified a couple issues. I was trolling a little bit, calling against Beast Coast. We were like super like timid and like stressed. Whereas like today, I mean, obviously you lose to Beast Coast and you have no more expectations of your team. So,
all right.
So you come in against the Soniqs and I mean, no expectations, and we just play the game.
For this game specifically, though, talk about that last round. Walk me through the game plan for that, essentially. Other than like the want to smoke everything and make sure that the plant goes down right by the rotate, what's the whole idea when you execute like that?
I mean, it's basically like we've done it, and we did it in scrims originally as like, okay, like it's the last round, like let's just try it, like try a rush. But we were like, okay, like this has like some potential, especially with the attacker repick, like we can bring a bunch of smokes. So we decided that, you know, we're gonna get the main breach open, and we're gonna run deep like into sight, and just try and like push them back. We have the glass to hold like lines of sight. Kool-Aid just has to get the plant down. And I mean, once you get into like a post plant on that bomb site, I mean, it's pretty easy. Obviously, like the goal wasn't to lose all 4 players and just leave Eska alive in a 1v3.
Right, yeah.
I would have preferred a couple more people to stay up to hold outside the breach, but I mean, it worked, so got it done.
So, Penguin, let's talk role changes, because yesterday I saw Kool-Aid on Zofia, and today he's playing hard breach again, like CL. So, was that something that was just like a spur of the moment from yesterday, like, oh my god, we got to change stuff, or was it like, okay, this is a different map, different role?
Yeah, I mean, like always with our team, like PB, our roles have always been a little bit weird. Like it's map dependent. Kool-Aid plays, you know, the entry on some maps, and some maps he plays hard breach, some maps he plays flex. So the same thing goes for everyone on the team. Like, you know, on Chalet and Border, I'm playing smoke, but on other maps, you know, I'm playing Jaeger, you know, Mira, stuff like that. So I think it's just map dependent. It wasn't like a spur of the moment.
All right, so one more question for you before you get going. So you got your first win under your belt in NAL, which has to feel good. It has to feel a little bit like a breath of fresh air, right? A bit of a sigh of relief after the way things went yesterday. So you mentioned the comfort level. Do you think that comfort level is something that's going to just stick with you now, or do you feel like next week, maybe depending on the team, maybe depending on the situation, it could come back, or do you feel like everything's going to be chill from here on out?
I mean, I'd say for the most part, it'll be like more chill. You know, now that we've played a couple of games, like we kind of know what to expect, especially against like the Soniqs who won last stage. You know, that gives us a confidence boost. There's not really like any teams like we're afraid of playing. Like obviously, like there's really good teams in the NAL, but I don't think we're like afraid of anyone, or we'll like maybe be shaking super hard against a specific team.
Fair enough. Maybe now teams will be shaking when they think about facing you. Either way, congrats on the win. Thanks for chatting with us a little bit. Good luck with your practice here for the rest of the week, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thank you. Hopefully see you next week.
Yeah. All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Penguin from Parabellum after that win over Sonic, 7-3 victory. Checking out the stats, Cookies, what stands out?
We got Lan, Eska.
Oh.
True.
Finally, it's taken about 7 years. And honestly, Kool-Aid, he's played another somewhat strong game. Yesterday, maybe it wasn't good entry-wise, but he had good numbers just in terms of raw kills.
Yeah, yesterday he was at least in those engagements trying. This time it had a way higher success rate.
Sure. You know, when I look at those stats, and I'm new here, obviously, but when I see the lowest cost percentage be 70% on the Parabellum side, that tells me that as a team, things are functioning a lot better.
So far, I feel like it was probably like in the 30s to 40s or something yesterday across the board. But this time, having everyone have at least some kind of noticeable impact or like discernible change over the course of a round is always nice to see. I think, again, even still in a loss, we talked about Yeti being kind of the bottom player from yesterday. Despite losing, he's now at the top right there. He at least went positive, and I think it's nice that there are some things that you can look at silver lining-wise for the Sonics.
For sure.
In spite of it being like an 0-2 and they've only won 4 rounds total, it seems like this is where the Sonics are more essentially expected to be. If the wins aren't there, at least performance-wise, they're where they're meant to be at. The roles that they've used historically are still in play. But if they keep on being met with failure, at what point do you then completely shuffle things around and try something new mid-stage? I don't really know if the Sonics are going to want to do that, but if they keep failing, then we'll see.
I was going to ask you too, Cookies, like on a fundamental level, what do you think it is? What are the Sonics getting wrong? Like, what's the major flaw so far looking at yesterday and today's matches?
I would definitely say at least today it was a lot of forced. This felt really forced. Okay. And the thing is, it wasn't forced with finesse. The rush in the garage, you just saw how Penguin described how theirs worked. A lot more layers to that, figuratively and literally.
Right.
And, you know, the West main rush was, again, it was just like, you know, I literally watched it, I was like, what are we watching here, you know? And I think they're kind of overreacting to the setups with PB, and I think, actually, funny thing, Strawless and PB, I feel like, are really similar teams. They're both really innovative teams. Call out, you know, I've talked enough about him. Now he's a game changer, and of course Parabellum as well. So it's just like, I don't know. I don't know if that's just a bad thing for the Sonics. Maybe it's just they don't know how to match against those crazier teams, and maybe we'll see them perform better against the top teams in the league.
Trouble against the unknown factor, who knows? I mean, it's, again, only 2 maps. I feel like we can only say that for so long, but it is the first week, so we'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. But we'll wrap things up for that match there, and don't go anywhere because we're just getting started here on the day on the Rainbow Six North American League. We have Space Station Gaming taking on Mirage when we come back. Given what happened again yesterday, that's going to be an interesting one too. So don't go anywhere. We will see you in just a few.